So yeah.
Anyway, welcome. We are the Reboot, Wednesdays, 1:30 Eastern Standard. Apologize we took a few weeks off here. We're back and bringing up a topic that we touched on before. It was well over a year ago, but I think it just with some of with the stats that we see today, it makes sense to bring it up again and just reiterate the importance of cyber insurance policies and what it covers, why you need it, and all that good stuff. I'm Brian Bratcher with B&L PC Solutions, based out of Long Island, New York.
And I am Dave Groot with WinStar Technologies, based out of Culpeper, Virginia.
Brandon Bowers with BBB Managed Cyber Solutions out of, it is sunny today, sunny South Florida.
There you go. I'll be down in Miami in December doing a conference down there. So I'll keep this warmth extended to the end of the year if I can. So some of the stats we put up there on the social media was just some basic stats that I grabbed that were didn't take much to find. So 2,200 cyber attacks every day equates to one cyber attack every 39 seconds. 95% of all digital breaches come from human error. 560,000 new pieces of malware discovered every day. So just hearing stuff like that should at least get your attention as a employee, business owner, whatever your role is, and talk about protecting your company, your people, your staff, your reputation, and it goes on and on why you need this kind of protection. And we're here as IT business owners to help on the preventative side and help with the mitigation side. But there's stuff that I talk to my own clients, and they're under the impression that because we're pretty open with conversations about insurance and protection and how much you need and why and all that good stuff. And we do get a lot. A couple of their responses are, well, that's on you guys. You guys do that. And it's kind of like, we are so far removed from that, and we have to kind of remove that thought process from our clients and let them know that there's a fine line between what we do. I mean, we have our own, insurance policies, but reiterate the importance of them getting their own protection and protecting their, like I said, their company, their clients, their assets, reputation, their data, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, without even looking at stats, because they are staggering for sure. And yeah. I just did a webinar like a month ago, and we were specifically talking about cyber insurance and implications and what downtime costs an organization and things you should think about. I say just think about what you hear from your friends, family, other business owners. Like, I would beg to guess that it's impossible for you to have not heard of somebody who has gotten a breach over the last 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. Over the last 3 weeks, literally every single week, I had a call, and it was, hey, we had an incident. Either an email was compromised, they were having wire issues, or now what we've been seeing a lot is some sort of social media compromise, and then using that as a mechanism to bounce off into either other systems or compromising other people. I mean, but it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's why, cyber insurance is important to have. You need that last line of defense.
I think it's important to talk about when it comes to the cyber insurance spectrum, right? Like 5 years ago, just 5 years ago, anybody could get cyber insurance, and it was pretty cheap.
It was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It was an afterthought. Most people just did it. It was $400 a year kind of stuff, Today, 5 years later, due to ransomware mostly, right? And those things come as a result of business email compromise and, human error, all kinds of different ways. The stats that you just mentioned are where that all starts, right? But now insurance companies, because they've had to pay out so many claims, they're getting more scrutiny, and they're looking at their clients as a risk factor. They're trying to measure. And the problem that I see in that industry, and I think they know it and they're struggling with it, is that they're wanting to be able to measure the risk, but they don't know how. And so, they're scrambling to get caught up with what is this cybersecurity stuff, and they're bringing technical teams in and cyber experts in this, and some of them are doing a great job, and then others, like I've been on quarterly reviews with our clients going over their cyber insurance review, their renewal applications. Like, so first off, you're right. The IT provider usually is detached from that process, but I encourage the client, the business owner, bring your IT person into this process, like have them be a part of it and have them at least just sit in a room and look at the application with you. Don't have to make any answers, but understand that all of this stuff is not IT's responsibility. It used to be people thought IT did the security because it was a firewall or antivirus. It isn't that way anymore. It's much more than that. Now we're looking at compliance and governance and organizational strategies and policies and procedures, and all of those things have a bearing on your risk level and therefore your premiums. That's about the likelihood of you getting breached, which is the pain in the beginning, but then making sure you're covered when that happens. And if you don't have those controls that they require in place and you say you do, you're going to have a rude awakening when that day comes because you're not going to get that claim covered. So it's important to understand cyber insurance is super important, but it's also important that you have people looking at it that understand the different aspects, and it's not just IT.
Yeah,
No.
and when you're filling in those forms, I think it's critical what you just mentioned. You need to incorporate either your internal IT or someone who can help you answer, because there's two issues. Either you're going to answer it incorrectly, and then once you go through an incident, they're going to say, well, these things aren't really matching up, so sorry, yeah, we're not paying. Or they're just going to deny you because you're marking off things incorrectly, and like
you're a huge
you
risk.
didn't mark off multi-factor, and there's too much risk. Exactly.
And you're teetering on fraud there also.
It might be fraud if you know it, right? I mean, again, I'm not an attorney, not getting into any. It could, at the very least, it's like negligence or some kind of something.
Yeah.
Like it's just a bad idea. Like don't answer questions you don't understand for sure, right?
And I think what you said in terms of them figuring it out, they're not there yet, but they are getting closer, because at this point, if you don't check off a box like multi-factor authentication, I've talked with a couple carriers just recently, and they're like, well, we're just not going to write the policy if that's the case. So there's definitely some deal breakers to think about. And what I was talking to them about is what can we do proactively to look at checking off some of these controls, like whether it's endpoint detect and respond, multi-factor authentication, and these other items that are all listed on these questionnaires now, to potentially try and reduce the premium in the future. I haven't gotten any great answers there yet, but I think that as this becomes more mature, because it is still a newer product for insurance, in all honesty, but as they figure that out,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. 5 years ago, they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take your money. Go ahead, sign up. Yeah, you're good."
And now pricing is how many times more than it was 5 years ago?
Wow, it's almost like health insurance.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gone way up.
Yeah, and I think that people don't understand the take the insurance part out of it. Let's just say you suffer a data breach, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens there if you don't have a proper incident response plan, and you're not doing tabletop exercises, you're not doing proper employee training, so you don't have insurance, and you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing. Hopefully your IT company is giving you some guidance here, but what happens when you do suffer a breach? Okay, there's potential legal costs. There's potential reputational damage to the company, lawsuits going on. Do you get the local law enforcement involved, and other fees, which can be covered by cyber insurance? So if you file a claim, and the insurance company is covering it, you can have the compensation for all the items I just talked about. Mm-hmm. In addition, one of your vendors that you deal with is breached. You want get a policy that covers a vendor data breach that is encompassed under your policy, and they're just to kind of put those thoughts out there on how you can kind of really expand this coverage, rather than just doing nothing about it, because it's like Brandon said earlier, it's going to happen. So start the. And Dave, I think we talked about this before in the past. You can't do it all in a day, right? Start the process, go through, do your diligence. Yeah, I mean,
that's right. And you're not going to get it right to start.
no.
I mean, you don't try. Just get it going today. Just do something. I was telling somebody in a meeting earlier today. Let's just take one step, just one step today, to get in that direction, so we can say we're a step further. Because if we don't, tomorrow we're going to wake up and say we're not. Like,
what I do want to say is, some people, from what I've heard, is that the insurance carriers are very stringent and it's hard to get payouts. That's not personally been my experience when I've dealt with it, unless completely somebody was lying on an application.
right.
You will get paid as long as you follow their process. So it's important to make sure, if you have any sort of incident or you think you do, contact the carrier right away and let them know. And it will cover things like crisis management, public relations fees, breach notifications to customers, credit monitoring, if you're required to do that ongoing afterwards,
Think
the
about
system repairs, incident response, forensic investigations. Like, there's a lot that it will cover.
not only will
that
it cover it, but they got resources to help you with it.
Oh yeah,
Right. So if
most
you need
definitely.
a forensics team, or if you need
Yeah.
an incident response team, think of the resources insurance companies have, right? They definitely got that back lined up, ready to go. If you need that assistance, yes, they'll help pay you, the claim, and then yes, they'll.
I would even go so far as to say, you don't want your IT guys, the guys who are managing your day-to-day, to be the person who's handling the incident response. You want to call the carrier. You want an IR team provided to you and providing guidance to your IT team on what they need to do, because you don't want them to potentially, mess up data that could be forensically captured or should be forensically captured before a restore happens or something else happens.
Yeah, that can get you into a lot of problems as far as even claims being denied, right? If the process isn't followed, the claim process, and some insurance companies are pretty stringent. This is the way they want it to be. I think it kind of outlines a few other things that we're talking about, the controls and the things that insurance companies are starting to require, and that paints a picture that you start to understand that I'm seeing national regulation on some level, right, coming down the pipe for pretty much all businesses. Where there's the pillars of cybersecurity on some level are going to need to be implemented. I don't know how they're going to hold you accountable, or but some of this is going to come back on us based on what I'm seeing in the industry, and I see a couple things coming down the road here in the next couple of months.
It's happening state level, vertical level, yeah, for sure.
And so you got to know it's coming, guys. I mean, that's just all there is to it. So whether you're FTC, you're HIPAA, or you're not, or you're just interested in security, or you have a business and you're making money and you're being profitable and you want to keep it healthy because you have employees and they rely on you and your business customers, and all of those things are important, then do the same thing you do for your body. Go get some insurance for the business or your cyber coverage, because there's just too many moving parts. It changes too often, and the rules are changing every day. And you got to get help from people who have the resources to give you that help, and your insurance companies want them.
Well, to your point, though, the controls in place. If you're filling out an insurance application and you have, you're able to detect and identify a breach within, let's say, not 3 months. It's going to, which is what happens 3 months or longer. You could identify it in, an hour or a day. You could identify that, and you're telling the insurance company that. That's what they want to hear.
That's right.
So
if you're having extended detection and response with a 24-hour SOC behind it, and they're watching your SIM logs and everything else, definitely let them know that, right? My goodness, that makes a difference.
And that's what we're seeing on these applications now. Is I did one for a company that has, I don't know, 6 companies under their umbrella, and every one of them is run independently with different IT companies, behind them. And the only one that passed with flying colors is the one that we manage. Guess who now manages all those other companies? because
Well, that sounds like a smart business owner.
but it was nothing outside the norm of what we do for all of our clients. It gets back to the EDR, the multi-factor.
Sure, that's a point too, that not everybody's up to speed, right? I mean, don't necessarily think, I know we've said this before too, but don't assume IT departments or your folks in your IT departments know all the cybersecurity stuff. It's not that they don't want to, it's not that they can't, it's not that they're not smart, but IT people, that's not their process. It's not part of their world, and it's not what they're trained in, right? They're starting to be, but they didn't come up that way. They came up to keep processes and systems alive and online. That's what they know how to do.
Yeah.
Keeping them up and running.
That's the deal, man. I mean, they didn't want the phone ringing. That's what IT knows very well, but they don't know everything about security, and so. And it's not their fault. It's not any kind of a slight. I'm just saying, don't assume they do. Take the time, look into this.
Well, look at car insurance. I mean, all these cars that now have, they pedestrian braking and cameras.
Right.
Your rates are going down because you have more safety features built into the car. It's the same thing.
That's what's going to happen to these policies. It's going to happen once they figure that out.
Yeah,
you're going to check off these boxes, and it's just going to be a dial. Okay, this is where your risk is based on vertical revenue and controls you have in place.
Right.
Yep.
And my son actually he has an app on his phone. He's out in Texas, and when he's on his car, if he texts or anything, his insurance rates go up. So it's just like being monitored by a SOC.
Right.
And they check and see if he's speeding or anything. So, but he gets a 30% discount, I think, if he's got that app on his phone, because he's got all the security necessary.
I don't know.
I have actually seen some of the carriers now doing external scans on the clients to see if there's any dark web data or external IPs that have something open to the world that shouldn't be open.
That's great, but let me tell you, I've had experiences with insurance companies that did that exact thing and then came back and told clients information that's not absolute or correct. And so I'm all about it. I want the transparency. Go ahead, third party assess, do what you need.
But it needs to be educated guidance that they provide, not just I agree.
I have no control over what's on the dark web, because it's usually a third party that got hacked, not us.
Right.
A lot of times. Yeah.
Right.
So
it can go.
They should go sue Facebook then.
Or LinkedIn.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think that's where we are in terms of why you need it, why the business needs it, and David, as you said before, it's just kind of, you take care of yourself, take care of your business. It's just one of those things that you need to do, and we all have it. We all have different cyber policies, but there's nothing. Brandon said earlier, it's a matter of when, and when you get breached, how is your incident response plan? What data was taken, and let's file a claim and get covered and get reimbursed for whatever forensics need to be done, and just have everything in place for that. So.
Because the fees are far greater than people think they are. Yeah.
I'll just say that, you can go from being good to being bad in 20 seconds or less. And so, don't sit on we haven't had an issue ever kind of problem or any of that kind of thing. And just, look, I don't sell insurance. So I'm here and I'm telling you, you need insurance. Take that advice, please take that advice and go.
And like you said, it's like health insurance. You need it even if you don't have a lot of health issues, because when you do have one, it's going to be major and you can't get it afterwards.
That's right. I mean,
I feel it's just a requirement nowadays for any business.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Come up with a topic for next week, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Two things though.
Yeah.
Please, God, enable multi-factor authentication wherever you can. The number of incidents I've seen just over the last 3 weeks, every weekend I'm getting called for something. Enable it for Instagram, enable it for Facebook, enable it for your bank, enable it for your email, anywhere you can. And cyber insurance companies are going to require it for you to get your renewals in. So just do it. And number two, get the insurance policy. I don't have no benefit to me there other than being
Yeah.
on the end of when I come to support you. Being able to work through the carrier is gonna make things much easier for you.
Agreed.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
thanks, guys.
Take care.
Guys have a good